2nd of 2025, which was not taped. And I need to get the tape for January 22nd of 2025 and May 14th of 2025 so I can complete the year 2025 for you and for the Harbor Committee and the town. So these are the
Perfect.
things that I'm waiting on. Okay,
I saw
great.
Pete just hopped on, and I know he's traveling, but Jody,
Right.
if you don't mind putting in an email to myself, Pete, and Katie, Laura, and we will get you anything that you need, and we really appreciate everything that you do.
Sure, I can do that again. No problem. Thank you. I'm going to go on mute.
Okay. Perfect. Also, just for the record, Laura McCluskey got on at 2:03. All right. So we do not have minutes to approve. Jody's waiting on some stuff, and everything else is up to date. All right. Discuss letter regarding voter certification, boat rentals. I did speak to Noah. He's going to get me some stuff. I don't have that yet to write the letter, but I have reached out to our state reps about it. So hopefully, obviously this is, I don't know if Pete has any updates on anything, but obviously this is a Cape and Islands wide issue or a state issue. This will affect boat rentals in Boston. So I think, there will be some movement on it, I assume. All right.
Sorry,
Does anyone have anything to say?
I'm on the call, but
sorry.
I can't hear folks very well because I'm in transit. So I kind of just joined just to hit record. So I'm going to go back on mute so I don't disrupt the meeting.
No problem. Mia, Laura, Maria, does anyone have anything on boat rentals or boater certification?
No, I don't have anything.
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
So update on harbor regs and harbor plans. Does anyone have anything that they've been working on or any questions?
No.
So I do have one thing. I am not going because I sit on both boards. It will be a conflict for me to do either of them in the separate, any of the in the separate sessions. So I'm going to work on some things on my own, and then when it comes before the whole board, I can either update or help. So basically, I just won't be able to work in the little side groups. But when we do updates, if anyone wants to bring anything, I'm also happy to set it out. I just, with the conflict of interest stuff, I can't. We can't have me participate. Essentially, is what was paid into.
Yeah.
But
Mia, I was
again, if
call
anyone
you
needs
after
help or wants to do it, we can do it in the public. Nope, go ahead.
No, I was just telling Mia I was going to call her at the beginning of next week.
Yeah, that is perfect.
Yeah. Perfect.
Perfect. I was gonna text you and tell you that's when I can
same.
start.
I keep meaning to text you. Perfect. All right, great. Perfect. All
right.
Also, just for the minutes, Gavin Kennedy joined, and I think Jennifer Shiwi. Jen, is that you?
It is, yeah.
Great, perfect. So let's call that 11:05 or 2:05. All right, I'm just gonna take something out of order for any other business because this came up recently. So, as everyone
Michaela,
knows,
it looks like
doing the. Oh, Michael and
Michaela,
Michael,
like
you have something.
Someone has their hand up.
Sorry. Good afternoon, everyone. I was struggling with the computer here. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay, perfect. I just, in regards to the boat rentals and the licenses, as I was talking to Freedom, and they're going to essentially assist any of their customers that are required to have the boat license for this upcoming season, until things get a little bit more firm with the policies and the implementation. But they are moving forward with, I think it's anyone born after 1989 is going to need them as of April 1st. So any of their customers that fall into that age bracket, they're going to assist with getting their license so that they won't have any issues this year. But there still is a bit of uncertainty in the formal wording, I guess.
So those their clients are their clients are more people who like join as a member and use it for the whole summer. They're not necessarily using it like as a one-day rental. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. They do
Okay.
get in people from, out of state as well that are members of Freedom though. So there is sort of a lot of gray area for them still.
Hi, I'm sorry, the minutes taker here. Can
Got
the
it.
gentleman?
If they want to charge it.
No, I'm sorry. I have my hand up, but can if speaker just state their name, that would be great.
Hi, Jody. It's Michael and Casino from Provincetown Marina.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Yep.
Anyways, that's all I've heard so far. I just wanted to throw that out there so that you guys were aware.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that for sure. All right. So great. All right. So the one thing that I just wanted to take out of order quickly, everyone knows we're doing this project on the pier, and we are hoping to expand it. And so in order to do that, we're doing some expanding work of the engineering and with our consultants. And to do that, we are going to need some more money for the consultants. And just so we don't have to go all around, I know we've talked about this and we have given a little bit of money, but in order for this project to be complete for the consultant work, so it's the cost estimates for repairing and replacing pier buildings, for the revenue study, and for grant identification to support the enterprise fund, capital expenditures, and borrowing. So essentially, we're hoping that we'll also be able to find revenue streams and pay this back. But I would move that the Harbor Committee vote to recommend that the Select Board authorize the transfer from the Harbor Access Fund 1613 in the amount of up to $40,000 for the consultant work supported cost estimates for repairing and replacing pier buildings, revenue study, and grant identification to support enterprise fund capital expenditure and borrowing. So the fund balance is current. Oh, sorry. So that's the motion on the table. Is there a second? Or
I'll
is there any
second it,
discussion?
but we can
Mia-
discuss.
Yeah, me a second. Is there any questions or?
What's it for?
So
Didn't they
it's for
just do that whole study?
It's expanding the study, and so it's to work with a consultant who will be able to hopefully open us up to a lot of public and private grants and also revenue streams, so that we can. She's like a sustainable seafood lobbyist and coordinator and educator, and so this will hopefully open us up to a lot of grant funding that is on the table and that we don't avail of.
I would second that,
Do we
Michaela.
have a? Okay.
So Mia seconded. Was that Gavin who said? Or
That was Gavin, yes.
Okay, so Gavin, yes. Mia?
Yes. Wait, has Gavin been sworn in?
Yes, I believe so, right?
I believe so as well. I was they voted me in.
Oh, but you
2
haven't
days ago.
gone to the town clerk. You've been appointed, but have you gone to the town clerk to swear in?
Oh, no, I'm so sorry. Apologies. I didn't realize that was a
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
step.
yeah.
Okay.
So you can participate, you just can't, your vote unfortunately does not.
Okay. Got it. Apologies, group.
No, that's okay. Laura?
This is
Sorry, who's talking?
Sorry, I was trying to
Yes.
I think I missed it. How much money? Sorry, this is Jennifer. How much? Sorry, can you state that again? I think I missed
40
the number.
40,
And this is for 40 for McMillan.
For McMillan. So this is for consultant, for peer, for repairs, for anything that will need to be done during this project. There will be money coming out of the peer enterprise fund. This is essentially just a way to get it faster because we have more of a revenue stream that this will be replenished.
It's up to 40, right?
Up to 40. It could be much less.
So they don't have to spend 40.
It's just so we don't have to go to the select board again.
Yeah.
Do we have an estimate of maybe what it might be if that's just the top tier, but is there any comparison or anything like that?
So the consultant
has
given a quote for like a month for in and around 10, and that's with travel to Provincetown. So that's for, it's depending on how long it would take, but that's 10 for right now.
I have to ask, if the quote's for 10, why are we approving 40?
Because it's not just the consultant. So sorry to read the motion again. It's consultant work supported, cost estimates for repairing and replacing. So it's the consultant and the engineer. So the engineering report that we did with Both, we're reimagining some things to hopefully identify some more revenue streams. So we don't want to say
something that's done in the past. Is this normally how this goes? Like the harbor access pays for this, and then I understand, or what I've heard is that we'll be reimbursed from some of that from the pier.
Well, we have a revenue stream that we get. The fund is replenished every year. So in order for them to do it through the enterprise fund or to do anything, they'd have to go through budgets. We can do this. And then when there are revenue streams, like our fund will be replenished.
So the pier has the authority with the enterprise fund to reimburse.
I'm not saying the enterprise fund is going to reimburse us. Sorry, that was like replenished from so this fund is supported through the Chapter 91. So every year we get more money. So this is in my opinion, a good use of this.
So it's not, how much, I guess the other question is how much of this whole cost of this project is the pier funding versus the harbor access gift fund?
The pier is funding much, 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 much more of it, like hundreds of thousands of more. I can't hear you, Mike. I'm sorry.
I have nothing else.
Michaela.
Sorry.
Yes.
Waiting on me.
Michaela, this is Laura.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, just a question. This is funding for a consultant or funding for the actual work?
This is for the consultant and the engineers to get the price of work, what the best revenue streams will be, and the possibility of grants. What I'm going to do is send around. Actually, Pete, I can't send around. I can send it individually. I'm going to just send the written copy of it. Hold on. Sorry.
Michaela, it's Jody. You're going to send the written copy of the motion, correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And I don't think I missed anyone. All right, so everyone has gotten that?
Yes.
All right. So I made a motion, Mia seconded. Is there more discussion?
No?
Michaela, it's Laura again. I have another question.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am not familiar with cost of consultants or the scope of work or anything that goes involved, but there's not a specific consultant that has been chosen yet, so they're going to look at prices from multiple groups.
In order to not, we have a consultant that we would like to work with because of their scope. So in order for us to not put this out to procurement, it has to be under 10,000, which is why we're doing 1 month. So anything beyond that will have to come out of something else. But the both engineering we're already contracted with, we have been contracted with for multiple years for this project. They have done a substantial amount of work. So this is essentially to allow the engineering firm that we are already working with to work with a consultant to find ways to generate more revenue, and find ways to essentially tap into federal, state, and private family foundation grants that are blue economy. Like I've said many times, like the billions of dollars that Alaska gets or the other ports get, there is money that we're not even applying for. And then there's many things that we don't even know about, and don't have access to.
Okay,
and so this is a consultant
know.
who has worked with Provincetown, or she did a peer to plate series when Mike and Calliope did it. She's probably the best that we could get, and I think that this is, in terms of consultants and in terms of what she could bring to the table, very, very, very cheap.
Is there a way to write into the motion what the percentage would be covered by the harbor access funds versus what Pier is covering?
No, because Pier, this is not like at this point, like the Pier has paid all of everything for the engineers. The consultant, this is coming out of us right now. If there's more to come later, if we end up hiring her for a year or something, that would go through like the full process. We would have to then put that out to bid and stuff. This is to get a small amount of work done in a short amount of time.
And you're saying it's going to be less than $10,000 because it's not going out to an open bid?
The scope of work that she's doing right now will be less than 10,000. I don't know if in the end it will be, but if that will not be coming out of this.
And just to understand, you're putting $40,000 in this proposal so that it doesn't have to go before the select board again?
Correct. And that this is not just the consultant, this is also for the engineering to expand the plan that they've already done. If they're going to do more work, that might be another 10,000 if there's a blip. So, my guess is that it's not going to be more than 20,000 if I had a gun to my head, but I don't want to have to go back to the select board in the same way that, anytime that we need to get minutes or, we have to go to the select board anytime we have to get anything paid, we have to go to the select board. So I'd rather, and the select board is going to be meeting less, I believe, with town meeting coming up, or that it's harder to get on their agenda. So I would like to just get this kind of done and dusted. And if we have excess money and we don't need to use it, it never comes out of the fund. The money stays into the
Okay, and I
fund
apologize.
until they
I
cash the checks.
I have nothing in front of me right now because I'm in the OR. How much is in the Harbor Access Fund right now?
So in the Harbor Access Gift Fund right now is $96,000. So we would have $56,000 remaining, and then which will be replenished with Chapter 91. And as everyone knows, we did quite a robust Chapter 91 assessment this year with the Harvard Kennedy School. So I imagine that it will be replenished quite substantially shortly.
My only concern is that that's like almost 50% of what's in there. I mean,
Yeah, and I agree with you, but it's not like this isn't like a grant thing where like there's a finite number in there. This is like a circular grant. There's a circular fund. There's always money coming into it. And to me, like in the same way that like when you hire a grant writer, you're like, oh, this is a lot of money to pay for a grant writer, but the grant writer pays for themselves if they get the money. So to me, if we're not willing to spend money to potentially get, millions in grants for the pier when we are already doing a huge project, if we're not maximizing a project that we're doing, then we're just leaving so much on the table. That's my opinion. Did I lose anyone? Is anyone there?
I can hear
Yeah,
you.
sorry.
Yeah, I can
Okay,
hear you.
great.
I can
Alright.
hear you.
Is there any other discussion?
No.
All right. So I made a motion, Mia seconded. So all in favor? Maria?
I guess. I don't know why I'm so confused about it. What did the thought, like, what, wasn't Jamie going for some grant? Did we not get that because of the Army Corps of Engineers?
I honestly don't have the question there. We have gotten the Seaport Economic Council grants. I
Yeah.
don't think we've gotten one in a couple of years, but I'm not sure. That I can find out tomorrow at my peer meeting. This is more thinking outside the box. Yes, like grants for aquaculture, grants for seafood sustainability, grants for all kinds of different programs, and then also grants for infrastructure. So this is like essentially and
Right.
potentially like cluster grants. Like there's a project called Ocean Cluster that they've done in Portland, Maine, and in Iceland, and and they're doing right now in Portland, Oregon. So it's basically just tapping into funds from people who do this all the time, and that this is to me, Provincetown's great. The pier is great. It could be much better, I think, as everyone knows, who has lived, worked on the pier, or as a little board, like in terms of the amenities that are offered are very little, and it's a difficult thing because it's also, you know, a working commercial pier. So trying to maximize all of that and figure out the best way. So there will be like community engagement and figuring out like what people want and what people need and how that can all be like copacetic.
Is there a way to do like a trial run, like a month or two? Does that make sense?
Yes. So we would be doing it with her and then going on from there. So she's under $10,000 for the month.
Yeah.
Is there a way
So
that she can, I apologize,
that's
I've
all
missed some of
working
these
in
meetings, but
increments.
is there a way,
Mm.
is there a way that this woman can come in and talk to us, or has she?
We she's talked to staff and she's talked to, I think when we were having this subcommittee, she came and spoke to us. She absolutely will come in person if we hire her. And she's going to speak to all of us and do community engagement events. But in order for her to do any of that, we have to hire her.
I feel like if there, sorry, this is Jennifer. I feel like if there is a way to potentially even just approve like a month for a trial and be able to see, I guess for me personally, I'm a little bit like, I was just going to say, I've just had problems with approving stuff before, not on this board, but just things. And then the cost is way more than anticipated, but we've already agreed to it. That's all. So.
Well, we put a cap, so there's no more money above 40,000.
For me, the 40,000 is too much when it's almost 50% of what's in there. I think if it was 10,000, if it was 15,000, that would be more reasonable. But I think the cost to me, I'm going to say no, just based on the cost, and I'm not entirely clear as to. I understand superficially the benefit, but I think to approve 40,000 with the limited amount of knowledge, I'm going to say no. I'm sorry. That's my opinion.
All right, is there any other discussion?
I mean, do you have, Michaela, do you have an exact figure for, I mean, because I would like to keep this moving, but I understand why people are hesitant to kind of, I know 40 grand isn't open-ended, but when we don't know exactly what we're paying for, I understand the hesitation. I'm in support of it just because I've spent enough time on boards and I know the back and forth going, because what we're actually doing, all we're doing is voting to recommend that the select board we're voting to recommend that the select board votes to spend a certain amount of money out of the harbor access gift fund. Like, we're not actually the ones who are deciding, if that makes sense. It's like we can vote yes on this and the select board can still say, no, we don't want to spend this money out of the harbor access gift fund. And I understand why Michaela is picking the 40 grand. And this is so that if we want to engage this woman longer, we don't have to go back and vote again and then potentially wait a couple months for the select board, if they want to continue engaging this person, to vote. Like, it would just stall the process. So I understand that, but I also understand that people don't feel informed enough to make that decision. So I am in support, but I understand why other people aren't. I think if we could maybe cut it down to like 20 grand and then it's 2 months of work, or if Michaela, if you have an exact figure of what this next month is going to be, whether it's 10,000, whether it's 9,552, whatever it is, we could also just vote on that.
I'd have to look in. I'd have to look in my emails. So the reason that I would be hesitant to, I believe it's definitely under 10,000. I think it's in the neighborhood of 9,600. Um, my main hesitation is I know a lot of you are newer on boards. The time between now and town meeting, and then actually after town meeting, is almost impossible to get anything done. And so that brings us in terms of getting on the select board agenda, because they're doing the budget, they're doing everything to get ready for that. And that brings us almost into May. And so if we want to get any of this done, this is the highest end of any money that would be spent. The so it would be this first contract with her, which would be a month, would be 90, I believe 94, 9,600. If we wanted to, if she gives us, you know, 4 or 5 grant opportunities that can bring in a lot of money in that month, and we're like, oh, okay, we want to keep using her, then we have the ability to continue to pay her with this money to sign a new contract and do that. If after a month we're like, okay, you know, this isn't working out, then we're done. We only have one contract with her. The contract is not between the harbor committee and her. It's between the town and her. But this is a funding mechanism in which to do it, and it's the harbor that will benefit the most, because it's not just the pier. It's whether it's aquaculture grants, it's whether it's ways to figure out. I mean, we're also going into figuring out how to pay for this project that's essentially already, you know, been approved, and there are many infrastructure grants that we'll be applying for, but there's also many more innovative ways to do that. And I think that that has been something that Provincetown has been stifled by in the past, is not doing this. So this is essentially a fund that I think the biggest expenditure like over the years from this fund is kayak racks, which are great, but we actually don't have any more places to put the kayak racks. So for me, using this fund to do something that will potentially benefit Provincetown for the next 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 years is a very good use of money, particularly when it's not a finite fund. This fund is being replenished every year with these Chapter 91 license fees. And there will be many opportunities down the road to do projects, and I'm hoping that this consultant will help us identify those projects as well, to say like, okay, hey, well, you know, here's a good use of there's a, let's say when we're working with, or when we're helping to identify the Chapter 91 for the Provincetown Inn, we'd say, hey, a good use of this would be to have a barge for trap sheds for the oyster farmers or something like that. These are all things that they can help us she can help us identify. But if in a month we're like, this is amazing and she's doing really well and we want to sign an additional contract with her, there's essentially no possibility that we'll be able to do that and get more money from the select board, because we won't be able to get on their agenda before town meeting. So, and she's a very, very in-demand person. And so if we hire her for a month and then we can't hire her again, there's a very good chance that that will be it. And so I'm not proposing that we're not giving her $40,000. We're giving ourselves the ability to continue. Now, we also, both in order to speak with her and then reevaluate their like what best use of things with the pier buildings would be. In order to do that, my guess is that is also going to be in the neighborhood of $5,000 to $10,000. But I just don't want to like handcuff us, and then so we're like, okay, like now we have no more money and we have no more access to it, because as everyone knows, once we get into May, like that's it, we're barely meeting, and everything's too busy, and then we're leaving it off again. Like, as Jamie Stanesha, who Maria was talking about earlier, was always very frustrated because of the amount of money that we were leaving on the table, because we just weren't applying for the grants. And so that has changed under Jamie Demetrio, and and Pete have both been very like proactive, but they also both have full-time jobs, and they don't have the resources or the ability to identify all of these grant sources. So, and when Sarah Peak was the representative and met, I think Jamie down, she's like, we like, the state wants to give you money, we don't know why you don't apply. And the town at that point didn't know about this Seaport Economic Council grant, which has funded a lot of the stuff. So I understand that it's a big ask, but my feeling is that if we don't do it, we are cutting off our nose to spite our face. Because I think that the benefit will far outweigh the cost. And again, this is not like a like volcanic, like spend. This is capped at 40,000, which, yes, will be 50% of our revenue, of our current fund, which will be replenished with Chapter 91 licenses soon.
This is Mike. Can I chime in for a second?
Sure.
I see what you're saying. I appreciate that. If we can get her here, we want to keep her here if she's doing good work. And we all know the speed of government at times. So, I mean, if we were to look at it, trying to make it so that everyone's on board, I think if we drop the price to 20 and we push this through unanimously, and we tell the select board, this is the direction we want to go, we get her here, it's going to take a month or so to get her in the door. So we're looking at into March, and then we have April, May. There's our 2 months that we can have her here. In April, if she can give us a progress report and say, this is my timeline, I think I can do this in 2 more months, then we can go back to the select board before she's even done with her first month and ask for the additional $20,000. And I think then that way, I think everyone's winning at that point. Yes, we're approving the money to get the ball rolling, get her in town with a really rapid and immediate option to keep her here as things go well. So that's my 2 cents.
So Mike, she's basically ready to come tomorrow. So that would only get us into March. Like, she's ready to start working. So that would only get us in.
But I understand that we're approving funds now that are going to take at least 2 weeks to get our minutes submitted, to go to the Board of Select and be approved. So we're already looking at the end. So I appreciate this, and I do want to see us move forward with these. So I'm trying to find a happy middle ground where everyone wins, and we're also able to do, as we move forward, see the benefits and look at this a little more in depth. Because if we can get her here, I do think she's going to do good things for us. That's my thought. My only 2 cents.
So I don't think 20,000 will be enough, because it's not just her. It's like that. It's her, and then it's also both. So we also have to approve both doing. So I mean, maybe 30, but I just don't want to. I really, like, having been doing this for years, like with town government, I don't foresee us being able to get anything else from the select board. And I think, like, Mia can speak to like what happens when you have to go back and ask for more money.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with approving the 40, but it also doesn't sound, I don't know how to convince everyone other than what we've already said. So, I mean, I say, I don't know if it's smarter to decrease the value so we do get people to vote yes so we can at least engage her, or we just vote and it doesn't pass and we need to figure it out for the next meeting, and maybe we have some more information on the consultant. I'm not really sure how to proceed. Like I said, I'm fine with approving the 40, but I if you don't think it makes sense, Michaela, to approve a smaller amount, then I think we just need to vote on the 40 and see if it passes. But yeah, I'm not really sure how to proceed.
Let me see if I can get Pete to hop on. From 1 second. Sorry, I think Pete is hopping on for a second. Pete?
Hear me?
Yes, now it's him. So Pete, there is some hesitancy about the amount of money being spent, and I was saying, that that's kind of the cap, but maybe you can answer questions more clearly than
Yeah,
I can.
certainly. Let me make. I'm on a train right now, folks. So let me just make sure in my Teams app here that I can see the chat. Please send me a chat if you can't hear me, and I will back up and restate. Okay, so I can see the chat now. Okay. Sorry, I have not actually heard any part of this meeting. Michaela, could you give me a brief summary of the discussion so far?
Yeah, I think I'm sort of just trying to catch. So I got this motion last night, and then I sent it around while we were in the meeting because I had read it out, and I think that there was some confusion about what we were doing and why the ask was so much, and Laura has some hesitancy on the amount because it's almost 50% of what's in the fund. And I said, the fund is being replenished with Chapter 91 fees annually or biannually. So the reason that I think that this is a good use is because what we will potentially benefit from this is much, much, much greater. In the same way, it costs money to get money, but to me, the benefits far outweigh any cost. And that I was explaining that, we will be spending less than 10,000 for the consultant for the first month, but there's essentially no forward progress between almost now and after town meeting with the select board. So if we want to, if it's going well with the consultant and we want to hire them again with a new contract, then we have the ability to do so. But otherwise, essentially, we won't be able to go back to the select board at least until May. And I was
Got it.
explaining that
Yes.
some of the
So let me.
Yeah.
Yes, that's all. That's all great. And let me give a very brief background on the fund and the consultant we're proposed, and then very happy to take questions from folks. So that 1613 Harbor Acts Fund is replenished by 91 fee. And so because Chapter 91 fees are charged to fee payers because of their privatization of public lands, the fund monies are allocated for things that provide public benefits. And so appropriate uses for this fund are like harbor improvements, like the kayak racks, and also consulting work that supports public amenities, such as McMillan Pier. And so uses for the fund and that we're requesting now are for two different scopes for different parts of the consulting apparatus to support the peer's expansion and the feasibility study. So there's a work order from our engineering consultants for $9,800 or so. That is for structural engineering analysis of peer buildings and cost estimates for building them. So as you folks know, the feasibility study envisions over the next 6 years demolishing and renovating peer structures like the harbor master's office, like the ice and catch storage building, and the docks on the east side. And this work will enable FOF to expand on that work and provide what they call rough order of magnitude estimates for the actual buildings we're looking to build. And they're looking at the full footprint of McMillan. So, to include all the properties currently on it, to understand what it's going to cost to build those buildings, which provide public amenities. And so it's part of the overall design work. So the Peer Enterprise Fund is going to put about $350,000 into design work for the first phase of this. You'll see that in the budget that's going to be voted on at town meeting in April. And this is a small expansion of that, which because of the way that the funding kind of stacked out, we think it makes the most sense to fund it from the Harbor Enterprise Fund or from the Harbor Access Fund for flexibility and speed, because this is expanding the feasibility study in this way is a recent idea that we have to kind of catch up to the rest of the phase one design and planning. The rest of the $40,000 that we're asking for from the Harbor Access Gift Fund is to start the process of identifying revenue sources for the pier to include expanding additional commercial dockage. So, obtaining new docks in addition to the docks we already have to provide more commercial dockage spaces. Those, of course, come with ongoing revenue that will help pay back the acquisition cost. But we need someone who is an expert in sort of modeling those revenue flows to understand, what our budget could be. Additional sources of money, of course, are public and federal grants and private sector investment. And so there's a wide world of ways that working waterfronts get support from the public or from private investors that Provincetown just has no staff experience with. And frankly, very few towns on the Cape have any experience with. But it has proven to be a real driver of peer infrastructure support in places like Maine and around the country and around the world. And so we identified a consultant who has successfully executed a number of projects that have materially raised revenues that come in from non-user fee sources. So essentially, we're trying to figure out ways to earn money for peer infrastructure and public amenities on the pier that don't involve charging dock holders more money directly. We want to expand the number of docks while keeping fees as low as possible, and also get money from other sources like state, federal, and outside grants. And so the $40,000 we're asking for now, to sum up this, directly supports one $10,000-ish structural engineering study, and two, the first engagement with the consultant to raise peer revenues essentially from these other sources. But we're going to proceed month by month with this consultant because we're just at an early enough stage that we don't want to commit upfront with the consultant to a much more expensive, longer engagement. And so we just want the first month's, which is under $8,000, I think, available to us. That adds to 18, but we thought to ask for 40 in case in a couple months' time it makes sense to resume and we avoid another round trip through the select board approval process. So essentially the ask is to support up to $40,000, but not guaranteed to be $40,000 as we phase the consultant work to go along with the structural engineering work. Is that helpful?
That was much more succinct than me, so thank you. So does anyone have questions for Pete?
No.
So can I kind of poll and see where, or after Pete's presentation, where people are? Maria, are you, or Laura, has that changed your opinion at all?
I'm sorry. Yeah. It's provided a little bit more information. I still I understand government is slow. I just all or nothing. I don't know. I'm not. I mean, maybe just take another vote from the other members and see. Because it doesn't have to be unanimous, correct?
Right. No, it doesn't. So, Maria, how are you feeling?
Fine, I guess. I mean, it makes sense. We hadn't heard about it before.
No, this
And
is,
I mean,
Pete is, I think it just happened at an opportune time when
point of
Pete was
order.
traveling.
I have a quick
Yeah,
question
Mike,
about the process. Are we able to poll at this point in time, since there's a motion on the table? Do we have to table that to poll, or I just don't want to screw up the motion that's on the table?
You can poll before you vote.
All right, thank you.
Sorry, Maria.
No, I was just saying that this is the first time that we're hearing about this, right?
Yeah, I think it came up and Pete is traveling and I got this last night and so I have also been kind of working with staff on trying to identify funding sources and I have worked with a consultant previously with not in a full capacity. When I did a lecture series with Mike and Calliope, and so I had been trying to get her to work in Provincetown in some capacity for a while. So when this opportunity presented itself, and I think it's the urgency of it or the speed of it is just because with town meeting trying to get things going, and while this project is still in a maneuverable state, I think time is of the essence. And also while she has the time, which is not common.
Is there a particular grant coming up, or you don't know? Do you have something in mind? Or just basic? Does that make sense?
Pete, do you want to take that?
Yeah, absolutely. There's not a grant application deadline that we are aware of. The decision we're hoping the consultant who will be identifying all the revenue sources, their work will directly inform decisions we make and how the piers like buildings and structures are designed moving forward. And so what we're coming up to is some decision points about those designs. Like, do we demolish the harbor master's office and build a new facility elsewhere? When we design a 3-season or 4-season ferry terminal, what should we include in that? And so many of these cost questions are well handled by our existing consultants, FOSS and structural engineers who we've been working with on the pier. They can absolutely tell us and are telling us, how much certain things may cost, but they are not, experts in sourcing revenue for the pier. And so the work with the other consultants, so there's two in this motion essentially, the work with the other one is to begin identifying those revenue sources. And those revenue sources will kind of really change what is possible from a cost perspective, right? The goal with McMillan Piers Enterprise Fund is to be supported is not to require taxpayer dollars, right? So town property taxes and sales taxes go into general fund and pay for police, fire, teachers, et cetera. The goal of a structure like McMillan is that it is self-supporting, and so it doesn't take taxpayer dollars. It only raises money from people who dock there and from other sources essentially. So every ferry passenger, $2 of their ticket goes to McMillan Pier via the embarkation fees. And so piecing together, like, the size and quality of facilities we can build and maintain at Macmillan are directly related to how much money Macmillan as a facility itself can bring in. And we certainly want, as a community, fishing pier, we want to keep the dockage cost for our local users as low as possible. So for context, Macmillan has about $1 million annual budget, and dockage fees from commercial fishing are less than a third of that. So over 2/3 of the budget required just to operate and maintain Macmillan Pier every year come from other sources. And when we are envisioning building new things and making capital improvements to the pier, which requires millions more dollars upfront in big bursts, that money's got to come from elsewhere, to a dramatic extent. And so building and improving on Macmillan Pier is only possible with robust outside funding. And we don't actually have, apart from, the sort of standard state granting agencies like the Seaport Economic Council, which are good and provide a lot of money, but there's a lot of other untapped money we just don't have any insight or ability to execute on without this consultant's help. So that's kind of driving the urgency, is because we're getting close to some decision making around what's like, that's what the feasibility study is. We're getting close to decision making around what is feasible, and we just don't have a weakness of the feasibility study so far has been a lack of awareness, frankly, of like other sources of revenue outside of the sort of tried and true ones. And so if we're trying to like expand the possibility space for future Macmillan at this juncture.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay. Thank you.
Mike, do you have any questions?
Mike, yes.
Or Gavin? You're voting yes, or yes, you have questions?
Yes, I'm a yes vote.
Okay, so then I guess if there's no more discussion, we'll go to the vote. So,
Michaela, yeah, I think for clarity, we should just redo the vote. You don't have to make another motion, and I don't have to second again, but just so Jody has a clear record of what everyone's vote is.
Okay, perfect.
I think we
All
just
right, so
do the roll call.
Hi though. Hi. Sorry. But Michaela, if you can, I did not get the email. So if you can email the actual wordage, that would help too.
I will do that right now.
All right. Thank you. Sorry.
I will do that right after I do the. Okay, let me just do that too first. Sorry. Sorry, Jody. All right. So, all in favor, Mia?
Yes.
Maria?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Michaela, yes.
And Jennifer?
We're only, Laura doesn't want us, not Laura, Liz doesn't want us doing, it's one alternate or the other. I'm sorry, I just.
Oh, right.
He had already voted. And so Gavin cannot vote yet. So he is a full member, but he cannot vote until he's sworn in. But I can take Jennifer your vote at just Liz when she gave her whole presentation. Said you choose one or the other. And Mike had chimed in first. All right. So that is
just
5 years.
Yeah.
Michaela, for the sake of how it generally works on other boards, as the chair, I would recommend keeping track of which alternate voted on the last motion so that you can cycle through.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I actually.
I've always. Sorry, go ahead, Jody.
No, I'm sorry. I keep butting in, and I apologize. I actually thanks Mia, because I actually don't have that clear. the vote. So we can do that, just again repeat, but also Michaela, the email, it cuts off. I get amount of up to $40,000 for and then it just cuts out however you sent it in the PPTX doc. I just didn't get the whole of it.
So the way that it was sent to me is,
Okay.
I believe it goes and then it goes to the top, the consultant work supported.
Okay, so that different writing at the top, and it ends with the word borrowing.
Yes.
Okay, okay, then I got it then. Thanks. And I
Sorry,
appreciate, being able.
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. And then thank you again, about the alternate voting. I definitely want to be clear about that for you guys for the meeting minutes. So
the
if we
way
don't,
that I have
yeah.
always the way that I have always done the voting is that I ask everyone to vote, because I want everyone to participate. When we had so this is the first time that it's ever been one alternate or the other. We also haven't had a full member since Marty resigned. So both alternates have been able to vote. So this is the first time, but yes. So Mike voted this time. If Gavin is not sworn in next time, then Jennifer.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. How come Jennifer didn't get moved up, or Michael get moved up to become a full member?
Apply. Gavin was the only application. You don't get moved. You don't get moved up. You have to apply for the full board position. And Jennifer can't be a full board member because she's not a resident.
Okay. I mean, not that I'm happy to have you here, Gavin. I just didn't know.
So Jennifer is not a resident, so she can be an alternate on any board that's not a regulatory board or an advisory board, so she can serve as an alternate. For regulatory boards, there are no non-residents allowed, but there are no, with the exception, I believe, of the Macmillan Peer Commission, there's no non-resident full positions. But an alternate doesn't automatically take the full place. They have to put in an application and go for an appointment. The only application was Gavin, who applied, was interviewed, and approved.
Okay, I wasn't questioning anything. I just didn't know.
No. That's just the process. I know.
I just thought that I was an alternate. I thought, I don't know. Okay.
So, and do you also
Yeah,
only
unfortunately,
have
because I was going to say, unfortunately, even though I do live in Provincetown 6 months of the year, because I live on a boat, that's not recognized by the town. So that's, currently, I guess. So, but thank you, Maria.
Yeah. No, I was just wondering. Okay. Thank you.
So can we say the vote again? And is it true that then you only use 5, correct? To make an approval?
That is, so I have always had everyone vote, but it was very clearly stated by Liz that is not allowed.
Right. Okay.
So the vote was, I moved, Mia seconded, Maria, yes, Laura, yes, Mia, yes, Michaela, yes, and Mike, yes. And the next time we have a vote, if Gavin is still not sworn in, Jennifer will vote.
Perfect. Thank you.
And the only reason is because Mike had chimed in with a vote before we got on the thing. So then I took him first. So Jennifer will vote next time that we have a vote, if Gavin is still not sworn in. You used to be able to sign in remotely, and I think Gavin is away right now, or if he's back in Provincetown. So Gavin, the process is you just go into the town clerk's office, you hold up your right hand, and they make you take an oath, and then you sign it. And then they have that on file, and then you can vote.
Perfect. I'll take care of that right away. Definitely before the next meeting. Thank you.
Great. And so going forward for alternates, that doesn't mean that you can participate as much as you want in discussion. I was an alternate for like 5 years on historic, and I almost always voted because people are not there. It doesn't mean that you have any less of a voice, and Again, like I was a alternate for like 4 or 5 years on historic. It didn't really make much of a difference to me, and your opinions and your experience are both very valuable. So, all right. So I did take 6 and 7 out of order. Let me just, I'm sorry, my Wi-Fi is bad, and there you go. And I'm sorry for that. I got that information late last night, and I'm also not taking my ADHD medication right now, so I am a little bit all over the place. So, does anyone have any agenda items that they would like for upcoming meetings? This is anything that we could potentially have something. If anyone has any suggestions about things that they'd like to see improved for this season, we could put maybe a section for suggestions for upcoming season to discuss for next week, or if anyone has any other business for this meeting either. No, nothing. All right, if anyone does have anything that they would like on an upcoming agenda, feel free to email me or Pete or Katie. But if there's nothing else, I will make a motion to adjourn.
Michaela, let me just jump in. It's Jody. The peer
Yeah.
meeting, yeah, the peer meeting tomorrow is canceled.
I don't believe so.
Yeah, they had voted to just have the joint meeting, isn't that right? The later meeting in February, the second one. I'm pretty sure Katie sent,
Oh, maybe.
yeah,
Yeah. Maybe. I'm sorry. I get so many emails.
that's all right. Katie Louie sent the cancel, yeah, the cancel email out with, yeah,
Okay, great.
sure.
Perfect. All right. So there's that. Does anyone have anything else? Otherwise, the motion to adjourn still stands.
I'll second
Is there a
it.
second? Give me a second. All in favor? Jennifer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Maria?
Yes.
And Michaela, yes. Thank you guys. Sorry.
Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, I'll call you this week. Bye. Wait, no.